And a lot of this is common knowledge, but if we go through this quick enough, you kind of see how it fits together. Because, folks, there's this really strange pattern of deceptive divas that are willing to cover up sexual immorality if it protects what we call a ministry, where, oh man, that brother, the Rev, and Joshua Simone did, I'm digressing for a minute, Joshua Simone did such a great job re-amplifying and breaking down this video that the Rev did with the five stages of collapse, okay? But the kind of ministries that he was describing in that, and that Josh re-amplified, is like Daystar. And that's really what was the catalyst for that video, all right? But I want to show you that there's this pattern that divas, that power-hungry diva women will, it's weird. You would think that because most of the time, not all the time, but you would think that most of the time where there's SA, most of the time, the victim is female. I still think that that's true. There's a lot of male victims, okay? But most of the time, I believe it's true that it's female, and the female is the weaker, the more vulnerable physically of the sexes. We know that. And so you would think that women would stand up and champion and protect women. And I think a lot of times they do, unless they have high visibility and what they want people to think is a ministry. I give you Joni Lamb. Let's just go. We all know this. So Marcus Lamb had a 7-year affair when Jeanette Hawkins, who didn't ask to become aware of it, became aware of it, and she reported it upstream. Oh, Joni might have had a talking to with Marcus, but what did Joni do? She engaged in harassment, persecution, and cover up. And Jeanette, I'm sorry, I know your story, but by now I know so many stories. If I get this particular fact or factoid wrong or off, I apologize. But I believe that Jeanette, I could pull a lawsuit, we don't have time. And that was like 2007. Yeah, it was 2007. And I have played on this program Marcus Lamb preaching for Rod Parsley at the Amazing China Cloth service in 2008. And yet Marcus and Joni would go on Dr. Phil and say, yeah, we had to take 2 years off. You didn't take no 2 years off. And Joni's hawking her book. So let's just get back. I want to kind of go through this kind of quick. So she kind of covered over and just kept it quiet. And I got to say this. The Church of God, Cleveland, Tennessee, you can go back through. They did not come clean to the credentialing organization that Marcus Lamb had credentials with. They did not. They kept it from him because Joni helped cover it up. She was a deceptive diva that helped cover it up. And so then there was the lawsuit where Jennifer Falcon was being harassed. And I won't go into the details because Jennifer's moved on with her life, but Joni's dirty daddy was sexually harassing an employee. And I'll just say it like this. Joni covered it up and harassed and made the victim, what is it? She blamed the victim. She persecuted the victim. She was horrible to the victim. The 2010 fake appearance on Dr. Phil. Then when her own granddaughter, SA, and the reports, and Susie Lamb innocently mentions that to Joni, having no idea that Joni would swoop in. And see, by now, Joni's got a lot of experience. Who knows whatever happened before Marcus's affair? I don't know anything about her upbringing or anything like that, but then it makes you wonder because you so easily cover up and manipulate and seize power during the whole thing with Marcus's affair, you so easily persecute and blame the victim over what's going on with your daddy. And so then this comes up with baby Lamb. Oh, I'll talk to her. And baby Lamb shut down. We know that. And then is it not Joni that, oh, Pete's innocent. He's innocent. Yay, great. He's innocent. So I want you to see high-powered, visible person covering up. Now, please bear with me because this is actually fascinating when you think about it. Rachel Ann Brown. We all know. Now, Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson, she is like the authority. She's like on this, like a, like a dog that won't let go of a trail or a bone. But we all know that when Pete was being questioned by Miss Denise Boggs, who did all the talking? Rachel. That's a cover-up technique. It is a distraction, a diffusion. It's cover-up. And then, did she not lie to her parents, lie to her father and mother who've been through this in a different sort of way in their own lives? And you would think maybe are trying to like, never again. We can never get on this nasty side. We just have to live clean and honest and upright and transparent. She lied to her parents. And then, as Laura Lynn has covered, lied. Oh, there wasn't a sleepover. I paid a whole bunch of people to make sure that on the internet there's no trace of anything that says that there was a sleepover. But it certainly appears that there was a sleepover. And every day, honestly, this is so sad. You see that picture of a not healthy Joni. Every day that she was on the air before Joni passed away, she was lying, but we're talking about cover-up. So every day on the set is a cover-up. So I just want you to see there's something about some women that I don't know. What is it? The power they love? Is it the money they love? Is it the prestige they love? Is it all of the above welded together, meshed together, and they get some, I think it is, but I want you to see that what Joni had a hold of certainly seems to have a hold of her daughter. And now we're going to go in a direction nobody expected. I want to talk about Dake's Bible. I say, wait a minute. These two things are disjointed. They don't connect. They do connect, if you can hang in there for a minute. All right. So I never paid any attention to Dake's Bible. When I first got saved and, was around Pentecostal preachers, I'd hear about Dake's Bible. Oh, it's great. Dake's Bible. I never paid any attention to it. Okay. I hadn't really given her hardly any thought. I did find out in the spring that Rodney Howard-Browne bought, I believe this to be accurate, bought the rights to the Dake's annotated Bible. So now he owns that. Whatever it is that Dake created, Howard-Browne owns it. That's just interesting. I think it's interesting. But a while back, Mr. Crittenden, or is it Austin Bullock, the wife of Krista Bullock, the husband of Krista Bullock, was yelling at a group of kids, 20 or 30 kids in the rooftop and saying, Finis Dake, mock him, mock Finis Dake. And so I hadn't thought of Finis Jennings Dake in a long time, but I knew there was nobody named Finis Dake, but it kind of put Dake on my radar. And then somebody in the comments mentioned this. And then a dear sister whom I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name, but she's a dear sister and we've spoken and she's been on camera, but she kind of likes to keep her name out of the public. She sent me this article. It's very, very researched. And y'all, it's the link to this, and it's probably about a 10-minute read. The link is in the description, about halfway down. Just click on it, and you'll be looking at this. So Dake, that wrote the Dake Bible. Now, please bear with me. This, y'all, I'm telling you now, I ain't diverting. I'm talking about Joni. I'm talking about Rachel. And this is the same thing right here. I want to show you how pervasive this is and how long this spirit's been infiltrating the church, at least in America, of the Lord Jesus Christ. So Finis Jennings Dake in 1936 In 37, there was a criminal case against Reverend Dake and this article is based on newspaper accounts. Now, here's what happened. On the evening of May 26, 1936, federal agents arrived at the home of Dake and gives the address. The 33-year-old pastor of Christian Assembly of Church was preparing to conduct his regular Tuesday evening service when Department of Justice agents, these are federals, placed him under arrest. According to the Chicago Tribune, Dake immediately pleaded, "I'm holding services at my church tonight, and I would like to be there so my parishioners won't know about this. Can I be freed on my own bond?" And the United States Commissioner Edwin K. Walker said that this is too bad, but it can't be done. So here's what happened. Dake, on the 23rd of April, 1935, had taken Emma Borelli, a 16-year-old Kenosha high school student, from her Wisconsin home to East St. Louis, Illinois, for immoral purposes. That's according to the case. Dake and the Borelli girl registered in an East St. Louis hotel as Mr. and Mrs. Yen. So, hey, listen, you can read the details of the story. Dake picked up, he's 33, he's married, he's a prominent pastor. He picks up a 16-year-old girl, transports her over state lines, and 3 different times registers himself and her as Mr. and Mrs. Christian Anderson. He does that 3 times. Now, when the feds put their case together, that slam dunk, no equivocation, he transported a minor over state lines. Well, Dake decided to plead guilty. He did not go to trial, and he went 6 months to a prison. And why is that? Because we not figure out that if he'd gone to trial and lost, he'd have spent a whole lot more time than 6 months in prison. It was convicted of the Mann Act, which is the transporting of someone over state lines for immoral purposes. And then here's what I wanted to show you. This is from the article. The congregation's response: blind loyalty. Perhaps most disturbing was the response of Dake's congregation. On the night of his arrest, while Dake sat in jail, his followers gathered for their regular service. The Tribune reported the faithful followers of Rev. Finis Dake met last night for regular Tuesday evening services at the Christian Assembly Church of Zion without the guiding hand of their pastor. Now look at this. It's in highlightedness. It's highlighted edition. Mrs. Dorothy Dake, his wife, and herself, an ordained minister, took over the service. So this is Mrs. Dake. She expressed unwavering support for her husband, declaring, "There's no truth to this charge against my husband." Now, this is a quote, y'all. "There's no truth to this charge against my husband. When they get to the bottom of it, they will find he is in no way guilty." She claimed that Emma Borelli was merely a hitchhiker whom her husband was trying to help. John Erickson, a director in the church, went even further. "It's a frame-up. Mr. Dake is a fine man, and we're all going to stand behind him." I wanted to show you that, folks, because when I read that, I thought, holy smokes, this is from 1936. And you have a woman who is a pastor. She's in ministry, and this is a prominent ministry. They'd bought the place of Alexander Dowie, and they had the janitor could take you on tours and show you all these piles of crutches and wheelchairs that had been accumulated under the great Alexander Dowie. And so they were the equivalent. This was before television, y'all, but there was radio. But this is someone of great influence. And the missus, on the night that he was arrested, because he shacked up in motels with a 16-year-old girl. He's 33. He transported her over state lines. The wife is saying he's in no way guilty. He's in no way guilty. He can't be guilty. Who does that sound like? Who does it sound like? Yeah. He can't be guilty because okay. I mean, does anybody see that? Can I just pause for a minute? Does anybody see that? Folks, this has been going on a long time. I'm pointing to a stack of paper that is the transcript of my first pastor's trial. I'm just going to comment on it briefly. Church, way after we were gone, somehow I take a little bit of comfort in that. I knew something was up and we got out. 7 years later, when I get the call, I need you to testify at your former pastor's trial. Please come voluntarily, but I will subpoena you if I have to. And I was more than happy to. I didn't know, and the prosecutor didn't want to share any details, I think, because he just wanted to, have testimony that wasn't rehearsed or anything like that. But 4 counts, he was convicted of a count of RAPE, 9 counts of battery, and was having simultaneous relations with 4 different women in his church at the same time. Congregation was about 60 people. And guess what? The wife, my first pastor, called my mother, who was no longer in the church, hadn't been for probably a year or 2, and in tears. No, probably a lot longer than that. No, it'd have been more like 6 or 7 years, because she left like 6 months after we did. And because I had a brother that was getting married. And anyway, and was crying. I guess she figured that my mom was sincere. I guess she figured that my mom was a godly woman, and said, I can't believe it. This is what he's done. He's done this. He's done that. He's done this. I have to divorce him. I have to. And she like unloaded all of this on my mother, who I'm like, well, why is she calling me about this? But you know what she did? A little ways into the process, she flipped the script. And it was the women's fault. It absolutely was the women's fault. And someday maybe I'll really go through the details of that, because that woman went crazy. They lost 17 years in prison, and then appealed, and then she sued the county because it's just totally nuts. But to this day, they maintain it was the women that did it to the pastor. It was the pastor was a victim. The pastor that said, if you tell anybody, if you try to get out of this, the earth will open up and swallow you, and your kids will get killed in car wrecks and all of that, and put all this up. Oh, but he was the victim. Folks, unfortunately, I have some familiarity with this, but I am not quite finished yet. All right. But I can I pause on this now? This is going back 1930. What is it with Pentecostal charismatics that they will defend the nest? I was on Pastor Ray's. I know I'm digressing and I'm hearing him there. I don't really think he's focused. I never said that I was focused. Pastor Ray today was asking me why, what do you say? Orthodoxy and orthopraxy. He was saying, why do people, they'll get all real jot and tittle and all bent out of shape if you violate what they consider to be orthodoxy, like, fine points about pre-trib, mid-trib, no-tribs, are these little things. But when it comes to orthopraxy, I didn't want to let Pastor Ray know. I wasn't quite sure what it was until he kind of explained it en route. It's the way you act, the way that you act. Why will people get involved in finer points of, doctrine and denominational doctrine or whatever, and you will what was Pastor Ray's example? The choir director's got a boyfriend. What's up with that? What is it about Pentecostal charismatics, of which I'm a Pentecostal, I'm a charismatic, that there's such a laxness regarding purity? Joni Lamb, such a willingness to cover up if it preserves power, and a laxness regarding purity. Joni Lamb will protect her dirty daddy because you don't want to destroy this mechanism that has given you this prestige and given you this honor and given you all this money. Rachel Lamb moving down the same path. And then Dorothy Dake, when they get down to the bottom of it, they'll find out there's nothing there. Well, there must have been something there, dear deceased Dorothy, because he decided to plead guilty and take the 6 months. Now, I got to say one more thing about Mr. Dake. Lester Summerall, who I'm going to shock some people if you've never heard me. If you'd like to support the program, it's appreciated. OhioForFreedom.com. On our website, we make it pretty easy if you'd like to support us. We have a PayPal link. Thank you, thank you, thank you to those that use our PayPal link. If you want to use your Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or American Express, I don't know if we've ever taken an American Express. I wouldn't have a way of knowing that. But our bank processors, we get a really, really good rate, and we really appreciate Aaron that set us up with all of that. Zelle is instant. There's no fees. I don't get an email. We've looked into it, so there's no way for us to email a thank you. So we say thank you to all of our Zelle supporters. It is appreciated so much. And if you'd like to support us with conventional postal mail, Ohio for Freedom, P.O. Box 344, Mason, Ohio 45040. Folks, we've gone an hour and 8 minutes, and so I will say until next time, God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow night, by the way. God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio, the United States of America. And we send our love and our greetings to our brethren around the world. Good night, y'all.